dear students, welcome back to our class. And yesterday we have started the lesson A House is Not a Home, written by Zan Godioso. Yes, and we met some characters including our narrator Zan and Zan's mother. Yes, am I right? Do you remember these things? Yes, I hope you remember. So let's continue with the chapter.
Page number 50, second paragraph. I'll read, listen. My mother then ran out of the house carrying a small metal box full of important documents. She dropped the case on the lawn and in a crazed state ran back into the house. I knew what she was after. My father had died when I was young and I was certain that she was not going to let his pictures and letters go up in flames. They were the only things that she had to remember him by. Still, I screamed at her, "Mom, no." From this paragraph, we can understand that Zan's mother came out of the house holding a small box full of papers, important documents. She threw it on the lawn and ran back. She was trying to save important things. As Zan's father had died when Zan was small, she had to save his pictures and letters, which were the only memories of his that they had. Zan screamed at her not to go inside the burning house. Look at the next paragraph. I was about to run after her when I felt a large hand hold me back. It was a fireman. I hadn't even noticed that the street had already filled with fire trucks. I was trying to free myself from his grasp, yelling, "You don't understand, my mother is in there." He held on to me while other firefighters ran into the house. He knew that I wasn't acting very logically and that if he were to let go, I'd run. He was right. "It's all right, they'll get her," he said. He wrapped a blanket around me and sat me down in our car. Zan tried to run after her but was stopped by a firefighter. The street was full of firefighter trucks. Zan tried to free himself and tried to explain that his mother had gone inside the house and he wanted to bring her back. The firefighter did not let him go because he knew that the very next moment Zan would run into the house. And they said that it's all right, they'll get her. That means he said that the other firefighters would bring her back. Look at the next paragraph. He wrapped a blanket around me and sat me down in our car. Soon after that, a fireman emerged from our house with my mom in tow. He quickly took her over to the truck and put an oxygen mask on her. I ran over and hugged her. All those times I ever argued with her and hated her vanished at the thought of losing her. Have you seen the word in tow? It means behind. Okay. The firefighter wrapped a blanket around Zan and made him sit in their car. A fireman came out of the house with Zan's mother behind him and he took her to the fire truck and put an oxygen mark on her mouth. Zan ran to her and hugged her. The thought of losing his mother aroused affection in Zan's heart and all thoughts of dislike vanished from his mind. Look at the next paragraph. "She's going to be okay," said the fireman. She just inhaled a little smoke and then he ran back to fight the fire while my mother and I sat there dazed. I remember watching my house burn down and thinking that there was nothing I could do about it. The fireman calmed Zan and said that she would be fine. His mother would be fine. She had inhaled smoke. That's the problem. Then the fireman ran into the house to bring down the fire while the mother-son duo sat there wondering on what had happened. Their house is now fully engulfed with the fire. Zan still remembers how he saw his house burn and felt helpless about it. He cannot do anything there, just watching helplessly there, sitting near to his mother. 5 hours later, the fire was finally out. Our house was almost completely burned down. But then it struck me. I hadn't seen my cat. Where was my cat? Much to my horror, I realized that she was nowhere to be found. Then all at once it hit me, the new school, the fire, my cat. I broke down in tears and cried and cried. I was suffering loss, big time. From this paragraph, we can understand that it took them 5 hours to control the fire. The house was totally burned down. Then Zan realized that his pet cat was missing. He could not find it and he got sad and depressing thoughts like a difficulty adjusting the new school, the burning of the house, and losing his pet cat. All these things made him cry. He thought that he was suffering many losses, and already he had lost his father, he has only his mother, and now he lost his house and also the pet cat too. Look at the next paragraph. The firemen wouldn't let us go back into the house that night. It was still too dangerous. Dead or alive, I couldn't imagine living without knowing about my cat. Regardless, I had to go. We piled into the car with just the clothes on our backs and a few of the fireman's blankets and made our way to my grandparents' house to spend the night. This paragraph tells us that they were not allowed to go into the building as it could be dangerous. It is very dangerous for them to again enter into the house. Zan wanted to know about his cat, but he had to leave. Whatever it is, either she is dead or alive, he has no information regarding the cat. But he has to leave the place, and they went to their grandparents' house to spend that night. Look at the next paragraph. The next day, Monday, I went to school. When the fire broke out, I was still wearing the dress I had worn to church that morning, but I had no shoes. I had kicked them off when I was doing my homework. They became yet another casualty of the fire. So I had to borrow some tennis shoes from my aunt. Why couldn't I just stay home from school? My mother wouldn't hear of it, but I was totally embarrassed by everything. The clothes I was wearing looked weird. I had no books or homework, and my backpack was gone. I had my life in that backpack. The more I tried to fit in, the worse it got. Was I destined to be an outcast and a geek all my life? That's what it felt like. I didn't want to grow up, change, or have to handle life if it was going to be this way. I just wanted to curl up and die. In this paragraph, you can find some words which may be strange for you. First one, weird. Have you seen the word? Weird means strange. Destined, which means future developed as per a predestined plan. Outcast, which means a person rejected by society. Geek, which means an unfashionable or socially inept person. Here, we can understand that Zan went to school the next day. It was a Monday. At the time of the fire, he was wearing a dress that he wore to the church on Sundays. He was not wearing his shoes because he had removed them and kicked them off when he sat to do his homework at the dining room. They were burned in the fire too. So, Zan borrowed tennis shoes from his aunt. He did not want to go to school, but his mother forced him to do so. Because he was embarrassed because his clothes were unusual, he did not have his bag, books, and homework too. He thought that God wanted that he should live like a person who was different from others and did not fit well in the society. Zan was so upset and he's thinking that he lost everything, and even from his childhood days he is suffering a lot with all the problems. He is facing all challenges, problems, identity crisis, and some kind of embarrassment. All these things he is facing there in the society. Look at the next paragraph. I walked around school like a zombie. Everything felt surreal and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. All the security I had known from my old school, my friends, my house, and my cat had all been ripped away. The word zombie means a dull and apathetic person. Surreal, which means unreal, strange. Ripped away, which means torn apart. Zan walked around the school like a dull, lifeless person, and he felt insecure as all his belongings, his old school, old friends, pet cat, and his house all had been snatched from him. Today we have discussed few more paragraphs. So go through the paragraphs, learn the new meanings. Rest of the chapter we can discuss tomorrow. Thank you.